no Ryder Cup captain has ever resisted the temptation to select Rory McIlroy for any session, morning or afternoon, since his debut in 2010. It will be interesting to see if that survives this weekend at Whistling Straits. Match play golf is all about momentum, we are often told. On Friday, it went against Europe and, rather specifically, McIlroy. Twice he suffered losing streaks leading to significant losses. In the morning foursomes, he and Ian Poulter were 5 down after the first 5 holes, a setback that was always going to prove impossible to reverse. Then, paired with Shane Lowry in the afternoon, the Irish pair lost control of what had been a tight game, losing holes 8, 9 and 10 and again surrendering all hope of victory. It was the first time McIlroy had lost twice on the same day in a Ryder Cup. This was, in many ways, like watching one of those Thursdays at a major tournament when McIlroy puts himself out of contention, before spending the next 3 days showing the world what might have been. It could be like that here, too, of course. McIlroy has the game to make the positive impact that was missing on Friday. Yet is it already too late? This was a fabulous day for America. The first time since 2010 that they won both the opening foursome and 4-ball sessions. America did not win that year, it can be argued. Yet, back then, the gap between the teams after 8 games stood at 2 points. This was different. This was more substantial. A 6-2 deficit is the worst opening day performance since the European team began. Significant damage was done to European pride and some important European egos. Poulter, the postman, did not deliver. Lowry, so keen to make an impression as a captain's pick for his friend Padraig Harrington, was trounced. And McIlroy, considered such an important player, suffered 2 of the heaviest reverses, 5 and 3 in the morning, 4 and 3 in the afternoon. He hasn't made it past the 15th hole yet. It was a thoroughly miserable day. And, of course, it wasn't just about Europe's failings. McIlroy ran into 2 very good American pairings, too. In the morning, Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay were already 5 under par playing alternate shots, when the match was curtailed with 3 holes to play. In the afternoon, Tony Finau's putter suddenly caught fire in a way it singularly fails to do at major tournaments, and neither McIlroy nor Lowry had an answer. Finau took single putts to close out 3 consecutive holes, 9, 10 and 11, and almost nothing within 15 feet of the hole was staying up as America's leading crease down the back 9. When Finau finally missed a putt of that distance on 14, it was for the match. The inevitable briefly delayed, McIlroy reached the 15th tee in exactly the same position as in the morning, with the American's dormy 4. McIlroy's body language by this stage was familiar to those who have followed, with mounting sadness and frustration, his recent showings at major tournaments. Shoulders sagging, cheeks puffed out as another putt went awry. The crowd wasn't ugly, or greatly hostile, but it still wasn't pleasant out there. A lot of crowing, a lot of USA, and a lot of noise from elsewhere that would have suggested this wasn't Europe's day. Earlier, Poulter and McIlroy, a dream team reunited from the Miracle of Medina, had been ominously bested by a pair of rookies. A Ryder Cup legend and a 4-time major winner. Padraig Harrington had hoped that, together, they could get some of the old magic going. The key word in that sentence, sadly, is old. Poulter's age and experience is well known, but at Whistling Straits McIlroy looked time-worn, too. Older than this generation of young Americans intent on taking their vibrant match play game to Europe. McIlroy played 30 holes of match play and his team led for one of them, after he eagled the 5th in the afternoon session. He missed a short putt at the 6th to give that lead back immediately, and it was never reclaimed. At halftime on day 1, America led 3-1, but it was the point conceded by the Game 4 pairing that hurt the most. Some of Europe's losers went down fighting. Paul Casey and Victor Hovland briefly led, so did Jon Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton. Lee Westwood and Matt Fitzpatrick were level coming down the back 9. Yet McIlroy and his partners were drowning by the shoes of Lake Michigan, from the first hole. That was when McIlroy played a desperately poor chip which immediately handed the advantage to America. From there, his partnership with Poulter never recovered. 1 down at the first to 5 down at the 5th. As the margins grew, so the record books were consulted. Europe's biggest ever foursomes loss? It was 7-6. Poulter and McIlroy were on a dismal trot that raised the dread possibility of 10-8. That did not happen. The bleeding was stemmed by a succession of halved holes, and then on the back 9 there was a revival of sorts. McIlroy and Poulter stood on the 13th, trailing by just 3. The problem, however, with going so drastically behind is that as the holes get eaten up, the end is just one lousy shot away. On the 14th tee, that duly arrived. Poulter was taking on board liquids and snacks to ready for the battle ahead. McIlroy was above him, on a greatly elevated tee. The cry of 4, right signaled impending doom. Poulter arrived at the ball, in the rough, on a fiendishly difficult downward slope. He had a little joke with the crowd, adjusted his stance several times. It looked an impossible shot. Poulter pulled it off, got his ball, not just on the green, but with a genuine chance of birdie. McIlroy missed that. Schofield drained the equivalent. Dormy 4. It was time to plot a route back to the clubhouse. And there will be many who will claim to have seen this coming with the selection of Poulter. He was his captain's pick and always a gamble. Poulter may be capable of extraordinary feats in match play golf. He may be the postman, the daddy, the governor when it comes to this competition. But no athlete can outrun the passing of time. Off the tee he is shorter than any American, and young opponents will not be bowed by reputation. He does not intimidate them, no matter how bold his demeanor. They know him from the PGA Tour, not the Ryder Cup. They do not acknowledge his threat. What should worry here, however, is that Poulter wasn't really the problem. He was dragged down by McIlroy. His energy was supposed to be underpinned by McIlroy's brilliance, but there was no spark. The pairing with Lowry was another designed to fire on shared nationality, like Rahm and Sergio Garcia. Nothing again. Despite being the third pair out, McIlroy and Lowry were first to lose in the afternoon. It was always going to be hard here with so much pressure from the gallery, but talk of a bear pit was rather overplayed. Yes, this was a partisan arena, but largely genial. Sure, they cheer if a European shot goes astray, but only because this usually means their team is winning. They like McIlroy, and if he, or Europe, hit a good shot they are appreciative and encouraging. There simply weren't enough of them to make this generosity noticeable.